why your basses don't hit and the exact chain that fixes it. Starting off with a quick example.
It's all about the bass.
Okay, this is gonna be an action-packed, informative, valuable video for you if you're new to sound design, intermediate to sound design, but struggling to get those full, rich sounds that you hear the pros are doing, and or combination of the two. Let's get into it. So the biggest issue is you're using the wrong waveform or the wrong wavetable. Usually you want to reach for simple, rich waveforms. When I say simple, rich waveforms, I mean waveforms that are simple and have a lot of harmonics. So sawtooth, triangle even. Triangle is more for coloring here, but guys, we're gonna walk through this bass patch today. I'm remixing this Grizz song that just dropped. Here's what it sounds like. There is a separate sub as well. I'm not going to talk about separate sub in this video, but we will talk about that in another video. We're going to go through exactly how I'm getting these basses compressed so well, what the post-processing looks like, the order of the post-processing, why we do it that way. Let's get into it. So again, that's the total bass. The core of this is first going to be that rich waveform. Usually I just reach for sawtooth, guys. There's so many ways you can vary even just the plain sawtooth. In this case, I'm adding in a triangle, and then that's just giving it some pitch movement with the automation on the coarse pitch here. Sounds kind of funny on its own, but when you blend it together with this default shapes of the sawtooth, now that's going to be the foundation of what we're hearing, but not the whole thing. So essentially what you're going to do next is some sort of filter movement and motion, and then literally some combination of saturation, distortion, and multiband compression. This is like the simplest way I could possibly explain it. If you clicked off the video right here, though, you're going to miss some of the nuances of that. So let's go into that next. In this case, distortion tube, just cranking the drive with the LFO, and that is going to be related to the filter movement and motion a little bit. Having that key LFO mapped to different things is going to allow the sound to have this cohesion in the way that it moves and is performed. Compression, gain up, release down, pulling the threshold back a little, I think, or is it? That's actually default. Never mind. No, okay, yeah, I am pulling it back just a little bit. You know what I'm actually going to do, guys, is mute all of these sounds, and then we're going to start from the beginning and just walk through one by one this processing chain. It's not all stock, but it is mostly stock. And then we'll talk about this. So let us go just mute these real quick. If you want to like skip 10 seconds, you definitely could do that. So again, the key to these sounds is first going to be that rich waveform, some filter movement, and then after that is where we're going to do the post-processing. Also, good MIDI information, which you've probably seen here, is super important because we need to make sure that the sound is in the proper octave. If not, it's not going to be bass. So we can see in span, the fundamental is in that sub-bass region, which we are going to define by approximately 40 to 60 hertz, give or take. That's how we know it's in the right octave. All right, let's talk the post-processing now. So again, compression, reverb filter is something I like to mess with for timbre shifts. Can do some really cool stuff. But now let's get into the actual chain here. So first it's gonna be the comb filter. This is huge for making the sound have width. This is just one way to do it. It's the way that I do prefer. So we'll see in span here that we are in mid-side mode. So the side information is orange, the mid information is green. So before we have the comb filter on, there's not really very much, especially in the mid-range, stereo information, but having this on, these are my settings, take it if you want. Free plugin. And now I will do some low-end cleanup there eventually. We'll talk about that too. But you just hear how much fatter it sounds. So automatically that right there is one of the most low-hanging pieces of fruit for you to just get your basses hitting. Just that alone. Adding in, laptop lagged a little bit there, adding in the stereo width. By the way, if this is your first video of mine, hi, I'm Oseen. My real name's Mark. I make jazzy dubstep. This is my page on Spotify. I don't hide a thing. I have a fan base. I have followers. This is my page. This is my music. I'm playing a bunch of shows coming up, building a career, doing this for a living, loving every minute of it. But let's get back into the video. So comb filter. Next, trash, Rift. These are fun to have distortion plugins that are just gonna beef the fuck out of my sound. Especially the Rift. Rift is like an advanced distortion plugin, nice to have. It's like I got it for like $60 on sale. I'm not a paid promo, like I definitely recommend it. The envelope filler. This is modifying something, and I'm trying to remember what it is. Okay, here's like the next level of sauce. Saturator, cyanoid fold mode. Blows out the sound. Don't push it too hard because it's not going to sound good. This color curve especially is insane. If you don't have Ableton, if you're in FL Studio, Serum Effects, throw it on there, and put on the distortion with the saturator. Sorry, put on the distortion with the cyanoid fold mode. Put an EQ before and after, and then mirror the EQ before and after. And you're gonna mimic this effect. I'm not gonna go too much into that, but whoops, sorry about that. We are going to turn that off. Yeah, next, and this is really huge. OTT time all the way up. Crank the output about 15 to 18. Low end, we're gonna. I actually ended up cutting the sub, but the idea at the time was I thought I was gonna have a sub built in. Boost the sub, cut some of these low bass frequencies. Final distortion, same thing. As saturator and like the Rift before, trying to make it sound cooler and better all at the same time. OTT again. Spectre is gonna boost, you don't need this, again, it's just nice to have. It's gonna boost the bass before we low cut it, as a part of preparing for a separate sub, which is gonna allow us to preserve that information from 100 to 200 hertz without losing too much of it, but also without overdoing it, because you do tend to lose some of that, and that is probably one of the biggest disadvantages of using a separate sub. But after that, I know we're moving fast here. Soothe, just to literally soothe some of those harsh frequencies in that 3 to 4 or 5K range. And then the shifter, if you didn't already know this, now you do. The shifter is what's giving it that like phaser lasery thingy happening here. Dry wet 50%, turn up the fine. There's other ways to do that effect too, but the shifter is like, I would say, the #1 way that I use. And that's pretty much it. Again, in context. And so with the OTT and the compression and the fact that it's a sawtooth and there's the saturation and the distortion, it just fills the mix up really well, and you don't need any layers. Now, it's not to say I won't put any atmospheres or some little lasers or some more hats or something like that, but the point is you don't need more than one bass layer because your bass is just there. And recall that. Where are we here? And recall that amazing production and sound design. A, sounds subjectively cool and consonant and musical. B, fills the frequency spectrum in a way that is satisfying and effective. Usually you need to use multiband compression to achieve that above point. And that's how you're gonna have your basses slapping, guys. That is it. That is the whole video. That is the exact same. That is the chain that's gonna fix it. Again, look at your wavetable. Audit the wavetable choice. Make sure it's not too much phase cancellation. How are we compressing? How are we distorting? Are we saturating? Are we not saturating? What's the filter movement? All these are questions you should be asking. If you want my help with this one-on-one, I do have a mentorship program where I will help you one-on-one for 6 months to dial in your music, to get things like this set up and situated so that we can get you playing shows and having the impact that you want to have with your music, because the world needs you to do your music. If this is something that's serious to you and you want to pursue this, then you're meant to pursue that. And yeah, I hope to hear from you. Check the link in my bio. You can hear from a bunch of my current clients. I've worked with almost 100 now. The results have, short story, been astonishing. All the love. Thank you for your time and attention. I know it is so coveted in this day and age, and I will see you in the next video.